Hello everybody, this is Carol from Friendly Quail. I'm here today with Try Something New Tuesday. I'm making something that I saw on Which Craft Do You Do? I saved it from 2 years ago. And I did a couple prototypes to see how it worked out, and I really think they're cute. These are a type of slide pocket. And what it is you have this ribbon and you pull this and it brings out what's in the inside. And this one has this, and put it back in. See, this would be glued down and you could pull that out. And then this little tiny one has this in it, a little tiny card. So this is what I'm going to show you how to do, and I really am having fun with this. So I'm going to put these finished ones aside, and I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to make this one from scratch. So this is what's going to go on the inside. I like having that a little smaller than what's on the outside, because then I can make the outside, the pocket to fit the outside of this, and this will go inside easy. And I got this little one too. The outside of the pocket will be that big, and this will go inside. So you want the inside part a little smaller than the outside part. Now I kind of wrote down what I do. The width of I have to cut a piece of cardstock, and the width is the width of this, which is going to be on top, plus a 1/2 inch, because I'm making it a pocket, so I need a 1/2 inch to go over. So that would be this width plus a 1/2 inch that'll be turned over. Okay, and then the height of the card I'm going to do ×2, so that's this height right here, and then I'm going to add a 1/2 inch, and that will give me my turn over too. Once I get that size cut, I'll show you how I score it. So I measured this, and it's 4 1/4 wide this way. So I'm going to add a 1/2 inch and cut 4 3/4. Okay. I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to cut 4 3/4 wide. All right. And then the height is 2 3/4. I have to take that ×2, so that becomes 5 1/2, and then I'm adding a 1/2, so I need this to be 6 inches. Okay. All right, now I have to do some scoring. You make it to fit each individual thing. So I'm going to score this, and I'm going to, I didn't really greet you. Welcome to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. And I hope everyone's doing well today. And we will get going on the rest of this. Now, this is what is going to go on here. I need to score a 1/2 inch on the side that would be the width. So I'm scoring at a 1/2 inch. Oops, I kind of went off there a little bit. My fingers are getting in the way. Okay, so I've got that scored at a 1/2 inch. And you can kind of see it right there. All right, now for the top and what I'm going to fold in, I'm going to do a score at a 1/2 inch. Sometimes I do it on this side and it's easier because my hand doesn't get in the way. So there I have a 1/2 inch there. And the space that is here is 5 1/2, which was twice my height. So, and it was 2 3/4. So now I'm going to score it at 2 3/4. And this one is going to fold down like this. This will be folded up, this will be folded in, and it will be the correct size for this card. So let me get the rest of it done. Okay, now this is going to be folded in. This is going to be folded in. But I'm going to cut part of that out. Yeah, my scissors. Okay, first of all, I'm going to cut out this corner right here. So I'm cutting an angle up to here, up to that corner. It's sort of like when you do other types of pockets and you're going to fold it in. Same thing. And I'm going to cut up to the score line here. And this part is going to get taken totally off. So you should have one that looks like this. This is another one. All right. Now, if I've done this right, I fold this up, this down, and this should fit right on top of it with maybe a little border. Oh, that's the inside one. So it's perfect. There's no border on this. If you want a border, just add a little bit more. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to burnish this down here. And this one. And this one. And I will put the video that I watched and saved from 2 years ago, from Which Craft Do You Do? I will have that down in the more section underneath, the description section. So I'm gluing down this long side. Now I'm going to glue down the short side. All right. I'm going to make sure that this is going to fit in okay. It should if you've made it smaller. No problem. I'm not cutting a notch because you have the ribbon in there, or in my case, I've been using seam tape. Okay, I'm going to close this up. Okay, if I can get where the hole is. There we go. All right, so now I've got this here, and I'm going to, before I glue the part on, I'm going to give this a distressing. This is Vintage Photo that I'm using right now. And I like to do a little bit on the inside where you might be able to see it. Okay, and if you wanted this to go in a pocket, so you've got a pocket and a pocket, then you would distress this. If you're going to glue this down, then you don't need to do anything on the back. Okay, and I did already distress this. I'll add a little more. And I think I did distress it. And then this is going to get glued on top of here. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to add. I'm sorry, I'm out of camera. I'm sitting back and okay. These are these 2 things that I'm using right here are Tim Holtz. All right. So then I'm going to put this on here. Okay. Now, when she did hers, when she was going to put the extra piece in, or the ribbon in, she totally glued it on the top with a button like this. And after I made a couple like that, I made one where I glued the ribbon underneath this part. Now this one I'm going to make with a button. I think I actually, well, let's see. Yeah, I'll put a button on. Have to find one. So then what I need to do for this is I need to do twice the width. And then I have to add about 1 inch. Because you're going to, in fact, maybe just slightly more than 1 inch. Because it seems to use up some of it down in there. And I can always cut it a little shorter. So I cut it a little longer to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on here. I'm putting a little bit of glue right in the middle here. And I'm gluing that on. Now I could have used my Fabri-Tac, because this is fabric and it would dry a lot faster. So I probably should be using Fabri-Tac. I'll grab it for the next part. Now I'm going to put a button on here, and I like to have thread in my button, but because I've already glued that on, the easiest thing to do is to take some thread. If I can find the beginning of this. Gosh, I got it all jumbled up. No. Just do that to make it faster. Now I have 2 pieces. Okay. I'm going to take a needle and thread it. I'm going to double it, so I don't have to go back and forth as many times. This black thread I can't see. Now you can use whatever color thread you want. It's a little longer than I should have had. This is really long. I'm going to cut part of it off. It's way too long. Okay, now I'll double. I'm going to make a knot. And I'm going to come up through the bottom of the button, go down where I have to go down, and then I'm going to go through between the two threads so that I'm catching, which I didn't get. I want to go through that loop so that I'm catching that knot on the bottom. And then just go back and forth a few times. I had to pick one with 4 holes, huh? I do it about 4 or 5 times. Okay. And my husband just got a phone call and he's going to be going, oh, I popped it through. Don't do what I did. It was too loose and I popped it through. I'm going to pop it back through. I'm going to hang on to it. Okay, anyway, he just got a call and he's going to go fishing out on the Gulf on Friday with some guys who live in the same community that we do. He hasn't done it before. Now I'm going to go to do the other side. And he's got to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, which I will still be asleep for several hours probably after that. But when I get up, I don't know how long he's going to be gone. Probably all morning. I might be able to work on a journal on Friday. Well, he's gone. It's always easier. Okay, I think that's enough. Whoops, I knocked it down. I'm going to cut my tail off of that thread. And I'm going to make a knot by going under some of the threads. If I can get it under there. And back through that loop. Okay. I'll do it again. Even though this is going to be glued on, so I probably don't have to worry about it too much. Oops, I think I broke my thread. Yep, I did. Okay, but that worked. All right. Now I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac because it'll be easier. And put it on my button. And I'm going to put that on the ribbon. Now I need to have something on the other side. So I'm going to use another button. Probably this one. Now you can sew that right on, or you can do the same thing and glue that on, which I think is easier. Oh, this one has some thread in it. I'm not going to use that one because it's not the same color. That'll look good on there. Okay. I'll go up, down, and hopefully this time I'll keep a hold of my knot. let's see here. Okay. I'm going to hang on to the tail for right now. So anyway, he's going to be gone fishing. And that's one thing. I love my husband to bits, but, you know, he's always here. It's like when you're retired and he's here a lot. I hardly ever am alone. And I kind of like being alone sometimes. So that is just, you know, kind of, I'm an introvert technically, even though you might not think it, because when I teach, I'm not. Okay. Okay, doing the other side. And I'm just using black because it goes with everything. I could have matched it to the button. Whoops, I made a mistake. I went down the wrong hole. There we go. And this is 3. Or I think I'm doing 5 because this is kind of a big hole. Okay, and then I'm going to make a knot on the back by going under some threads and back through the loop. Under threads and then back through the loop. I'll cut that off and cut off the end of my other one. And that'll get glued on. Now it does get glued on the top of here, but I'm going to put the card in first to see if I need to cut any of it off. So you kind of open up your card and push that down inside, and you get that card all the way inside. And yes, I have this too long. I'm going to cut it off. So I'm leaving about a 1/2 inch sticking out, and I'm going to glue the button on there. One thing I like to make sure is that I didn't twist this at all. Here we go. So that is this one. When it's bigger, sometimes it pulls out the card a little crooked, but that is what that one looks like. Okay, now this one I already did the cutting before I came on. And now I'm going to put this and make it into the pocket. Okay. Oh. I'm going to give it a nice distress. Now this one, I'm going to put the ribbon on right away. I'm going to just double check that this will be on the outside like this. I might want to distress a little bit more because I made it just a little bit bigger. because I didn't want to deal with 1/8 of an inch when I was measuring. So I rounded it up. So this one's a little bit bigger, the height-wise. Okay? But before I glue this on, I want to put my ribbon on. So, twice this plus about an inch more. All right? And I'm going to glue this on here before I glue the card down. And that way I won't need a button or anything. It'll be underneath. So give yourself a nice overlap there. And then I'm going to put this on. I am just using this because it's easier to use all one glue. And keep opening up my other one. Okay. So now that ribbon is between there. Still attached to the top. I just think these are so darn cute. This one was wimpy, so I put some card on the back to make sure it was stiff enough. And this is going to go in like this. Go on. Get it nice all the way in there. For some reason, I think it's because of that wrinkle in that ribbon right there. Yeah. Okay. So once you've got it in, figure out your 1/2 inch more. Okay. See, I'm going to have to iron that. It doesn't want to be there. Okay, let's see. I am going to just do this tiny little button. Like I said, if you want, you can just sew it on, but then you do see the thread in the back. I am not going to do that. And there's one other thing I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you if you use the inside card to measure, to make the envelope, if you don't want to cover the whole envelope with one thing, like I've been doing. I'm going to decorate another one differently, but I'm going to measure from the inside card. So I'll be ready to do that in just a sec here. The only difference is, instead of adding 1/2 of an inch, add 3/4 of an inch. Because you need to have a little bit of a leeway on the inside to put your card in. If you made it exactly the same size as say that I'm going to put this inside, if I made it exactly the same size as that, the card would not slide in. So I need a little wiggle room. And in order to do that, you have to add like another 1/4 inch so that your piece is going to be a little bit bigger. Maybe even 1/2 inch would be better. I figured it out. Yeah, I'm going to add 1 inch because I thought it through before I did this. Okay, get this open all the way. Put some glue. And I'm going to put my little button on there. Well, that's going to have to dry. I'm just going to move it to the side for right now. Another fold in there that doesn't want it to, I'm going to put something on there. Because it's flipping up and flipping the button off. Okay. All right. I'm going to make a pocket for this. So, yeah, got to put this in here so I don't lose it, the needle. This card measures thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. Okay. This card measures 5 inches by, it's a little over, it's more like, I'm going to round it to 3 1/4. Okay. So I'm going to take my 5 inches this way. But instead of a 1/2 inch, I'm going to add 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to cut 3/4 because the ribbon takes up a little space inside. And if I don't allow for that, the card sticks out the end. I know because I did that once. Okay, then the height of the card, I said, was 3 1/4. So I have to double that. 3 1/4 times 2 is 6 1/2. And then I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to add, I said, 3/4 inch. So it's 7 1/4. Because this would be 2/4, so it's 5/4. So it's 7 1/4. So I'm going to cut my piece for that. Get this out of the way. Going to have to grab my thing up here again. And I'm hoping this piece will be big enough. Okay. It has to be 7 1/4 wide or long. And this has to be 5 3/4. Okay. I'm still going to score a 1/2 inch. I'll do it on this one and then turn it the other way. That's going to be, you know, the side. And then I need to score it a 1/2 inch to turn that. And then the rest of it is 6 3/4. So I'm going to do 6, 3, 3 3/8. 3 3/8. And before I finish it, I'm going to make sure that this is going to fit. Yep, good. Okay. Burnish that. Burnish this. Hope it's not too dark in here. I have my overhead light on because the sun was shining right in here. Okay. And caught on thread again. Cut out this corner. Cut this at an angle. And then cut this part totally off. Okay. There we go. Going to glue this. And this is burnishing it down a little bit more. Now this will be fitting inside here, and you'll be pulling that out with the ribbon. Now I'm thinking I want to decorate this. I might glue the ribbon on the back. I haven't tried that yet. Okay. Twice this. Plus a little bit more. I might have to cut some off, but that little bit won't matter. And I'm going to put this onto the back. I think this will work just as well. Okay. I'm putting it on about a 1/2 inch. This would be glued down anyway, so that would also hold that there. So let's see. Get a little bit of this. Here. Kind of doing that inside part just in case if you see it. Probably would have been easier to do this before I put the ribbon on. Okay, so I decided for this one, I'm going to just do some decorations. And where did I put them? Here, they're under here. And I've got these stressed already. I thought what I would do is do something like this. Put this on here and this here so it looks like it's addressed. This will be sort of like a stamp. This will be like a return address label. Okay. First I'm going to put this on. Okay, glue. I am putting it under that one a little. Oops, I got some on there. I also did distress this because it was bright white. This is going to go on kind of like a stamp up in the corner. In fact, I could stamp it so that it looks like it's canceled. All right, and this one's going to go down here. Okay, and this is like a ticket. These are all Tim Holtz stuff. All right. I think I'll get out my stamps and do that, but I won't do it on camera because I've already got you 40 minutes. So this is going to be different because now this is going to be on the back. So the ribbon, excuse me, is going to come out on the top. But I still would do the same thing. I will put my button right on here. I have a button here. It's already got some fake or some thread left in it. When it was cut off, it was, they left the thread on it. And that is going to go right on there. So that will be what you pull to get that one out. So I think I'll do a little bit of stamping on here. And let's see, this one here goes in like this. So I made these 3 today, and these were my other ones that I made. So I hope you try it. It's really fun. I just been having a blast here, and I really like how they look. It's something just a little bit different than what I have done in the past. So it'll be something that's a little different in my journals. Okay, I hope you try it. Lots of fun. And I will have her video below, but I did some adaptations, so you can see what you like and try it. All right, do something you love every day, because that's the secret to happiness, and I'll see you in my next video. This is Carol from Friendly Quail. Bye.